All right, so I think that we are recording. I never remember. There it is. All right, everyone can see the presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent. All right. So we're here today with Bennett and Bernadette presenting our discussion about learning technologies. So these are the questions that we'll be answering today, and I'm gonna actually take it away first and talk about what are learning technologies. So learning technologies are essentially just any kinds of technological tools that are going to support learning or teaching or any kind of assessment like that. And so those technologies would include things like an LMS, e-learning platforms like Articulate or Storyline or things like that, any simulations that you can put people in and run through. And then I thought that this one was kind of interesting. Communication tools, so things like email is a learning technology because that helps people communicate and get together and enhance learning. And then our last one here is production softwares, which I believe Bernadette is going to talk about.
Yeah.
So
So production software is kind of, I guess there's some sort of, if you thought about it in a Venn diagram, there's some interlooping, but I thought for me, the tools of the trade. So product production software refers to applications used to develop and manage multimedia learning materials, e-learning courses, and interactive content. So with that, you have things like authoring tools like Articulate, video editing tools like Echo 360, or a screen capture program like Camtasia, any kind of graphic design. Adobe, and obviously the learning management system that the e-learning course will be hosted on and delivered to learners. So that was particularly like you, what I thought was really interesting was the intersection between the two. Like for a little while, I struggled like, where is the delineating line here between, the first question and the second question? But for me, I think of these more as the tools that you use that a learning developer or an instructional designer would use to produce um, any component of a learning course or a learning course. Um, a bit of bits and pieces, those smaller tools that it uses to develop those kinds of things. So that's what I thought about when
yeah, it seems like a hierarchy kind of where like learning
yeah.
technologies is kind of anything that can help learning, and then
Uh-huh.
production software is like a smaller chunk of that.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
and so I had instructional and design approaches. So some software is industry standard, while others are specific to the job. So a posting would list it so that the applicants can tailor it to their approach to the position. And that kind of reminded me of our first big project where we had to go and find those, job postings. And like the one that I had for Berkeley talked a lot about the, design products that they would have, like there was a lot of coding on that one, as
Uh-huh.
well as like having to go through and understand how to use Photoshop and using more just developed software. And so kind of going through that experience, yesterday I went and looked up all of the different jobs again, just to see like, okay, what are other positions that are out there looking for? Like I looked up one for Rice, and Rice University has an instructional designer position open that plays pretty well. It pays a good teacher's salary, like if you've been teaching 15 to 20 years. But it also had very specifics about being able to use HTML code and understanding programming languages. And the cool thing about that is it does facilitate your ability to make behind the scenes tweaks in a product, so that when you're working with something and you're like, why can't I get it to do this thing? I'm assuming, because again, I don't have that coding background. I'm assuming it does make your life easier because now you're not limited to just the functionalities that you already know with the product that you're using. And I remember like learning the WYSIWYG, when I was in junior high, and it's just such a silly word, but to see it come around again in this course is nice because yeah, we have so many WYSIWYGs that we're using, but knowing that you can really apply yourself and just get that next layer of understanding by doing a basic programming course that can make you a much more effective designer, I think is really cool. And so knowing that those positions are already out there and you can start researching, okay, so this is a job that would interest me. I would love to be part of the Rice University faculty, and working to help develop products for them. So now I know, okay, to be able to get a position like that, I need to understand some sort of coding language so that I can be able to be just a stronger candidate, stronger applicant for the position. And on that same position, they talked about, okay, you also need to have a master's degree in this, and you need to have demonstrated, lots of experience working at this level so that you can be able to help us enhance what we're doing.
Understood. I remember, I don't know, was it, I can't say because I'm doing two courses, but one of these courses that I'm doing, we got a link to a video of a female designer. It was kind of a podcast, and she was talking about the very same thing about how knowing HTML has been really useful in her career development and her trajectory, because working on it's come in handy in many different ways on the projects that she's used, and allowed her to be able to kind of go behind the curtain and look if something's not working. She can be like, oh, that's because of this, whatever. So it made her a much more effective designer, and also, responsive to the needs of the team and the project.
Yeah, it's like you have to kind of be like a Swiss Army knife, because you never know what different tools you're going to have to need or use depending on the project. And so that's been kind of cool, because I feel like post-COVID as a teacher, it's been the same experience where there's just little things that I'm using in this course that now I can look at my classes very differently and start to apply it that way. Even just like watching how some of you, when you put together like graphics for one of these presentations, it's like, oh yeah, I could balance my colors better so that it's just easier for the learner, my students in my classroom, to be able to receive the information better. And I feel like with the programming, it's the same idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
like Bernadette, how you said it was like being able to kind of look behind the curtain, because using all of
Yeah,
the production softwares that we use, that's like, it's awesome to be able to do those, and that's what we're expected to know essentially.
Yeah.
But then it's that extra level, that extra tool to be able to get in there and say, okay, I want this page to look exactly like this. If the
mhm,
production software doesn't let me do that, I can adjust that with the code of the software or of the website page with those different coding languages. So yeah, it's really nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take the theory part of this question. So this overall question says, why would someone in the field of instructional design and technology need to understand the theory, the models, the project management needs, and the production hardware and software? So theory and models kind of go hand in hand. The theory is the underpinning of all e-learning experiencing and development. Our three main theories: behaviorism, cognitivism, and constructivism tell us different things about how people learn. And so we need to be able to know those that have an in-depth knowledge of that in order to devise and to design effective learning objectives and effective learning experiences. And also knowing these, then you can kind of understand what informs your own instructional and design approach as well. So I'm going to take away some of the bias, or maybe lean in on that bias. Maybe you're more attracted to projects that are more behaviorist in nature or something of that nature. And again, understanding what it is within the scheme of the project, how the learning theories underpin or support a project, or can support a project, is very critical in all stages of development, and particularly learning objectives and being able to identify what type of learning strategies and interactions you want to embed within a given learning experience based on the underpinned theory, as well as what theory underpins that particular strategy, and does it mesh well with your ideas and plans for the particular learning experience that you're designing. And models allow you to do this systematically. They give you a process, stages, and that kind of thing that have built-in check-ins and feedback to collaborators, to stakeholders, allow you to collect data, all of those things. And so the idea of having a very in-depth understanding of learning theory, as well as being overexposed to e-learning modules are absolutely crucial for any instructional designer or learning development.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like the project management side of it, allows you to be able to, like it says, manage a project from inception to completion, be able to refine the scope and align your developers' tasks with the broader project, managing, that scope creep and expenses, and making sure that everybody involved is informed about how the project's working. And it's kind of been enlightening to see this profession through the lens of this course, just because I feel like she's really helped us understand all the steps that are involved in it. And when you start talking about like instructional design, you really do just go directly to the project. You don't really think about all the things like, that undergird what you're doing with the whole career. And so it's nice to be able to see all these steps and see like, okay, the theory leads to the models, leads to the project, and then the software helps you present that project better to the customers and the users, the end users. And so it's really neat to see that. And you have to understand all of it from start to finish, because if you don't understand one side of it, like if you don't understand how the production software works, you can have all these great theories and models, but then deliver a very terrible user experience, and we've all been on the receiving end of that, like the best of intentions. And so understanding, or even just like project management, like in my district, we have a yearly training that we're supposed to do. And so many of my friends in other districts get that over the summer. So like you get it at a time where you can sit and actually do it and listen to it. And ours is rolled out like the week we get back on campus. So you have a million fires that you're trying to take care of. And then you get these emails. It was like due the 30th of this month. And I got it, or last month, and I got it done on the 29th, just because I was like, okay, I know I can get that done way later. So I'm going to do that. But it's like, that was a project that involved lots of departments in our district and it was like, they're probably waiting on some department or some regulation to be finished and finalized, so then they could roll it out and make sure everybody who needed to see it could see it before they presented it to the teachers. But unfortunately, that project took too long, to where now they have to hound other teachers who didn't get it done in time, because they're associating that with the start of the school year and not the end of the first 9 weeks.
Yeah, same thing here. I still have to finish mine.
Yeah, and then as far as the hardware and software goes, they just allow for so many ease of use things. So like the coding allows for that specific customization for exactly what you want. You can create that on your end. And then something I didn't really think about originally, but having those technology tools allows for remote collaboration. It allows a designer to maybe not necessarily have to be somewhere specific. It gives us that freedom of possibly working from home. And then Storyline, Articulate, any kind of LMS is going to have really great data collection. And that's really what all of this is leading towards. We're looking to collect data on a gap or a problem that we've come to find throughout those models and throughout our project management steps. And having data being collected so easily makes everyone's life easier and makes things go smoother. And then they're also easy to update because they're online and because they're accessible all the time. It's easy, or in theory, it should be easy for someone to go in, even if it was something that's been made 10 years ago by a whole different team. A new team can come in and update it to what it needs to be now. So that's really the kind of importance there for software.
Absolutely, I agree.
All right, well, thank you all for joining us. That is the end of our presentation. I'm going to go ahead and end our recording.
I'll take care.
All right, thank you. It's been great working with you.